I'm up to almost 180 now, and I'm hitting 80s, around mid 80s.
How much more kind of committed he was and how much more confident he became in his own progress, instead of questioning himself about, am I doing the right thing or is this the right thing? So you could kind of see the stress level decrease a little bit, and then that energy could be focused on really all of the program aspects, right? Or his workouts.
Do that. If you could get on and do what you said day in, day out, it's amazing. Like a game changer.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. I could feel the improvement myself. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
You can give him guidance and he can always ask questions to you. I could see how he became more confident after talking to you every time. You are always there when he needs. I think it's really important to know or be told from someone professional like you.
It was a completely new experience for us. I think we were skeptical. We dove into some of the content. We realized how good it was and the quality of it. The way that you kind of worked with him and you set expectations for him, like, hey, these are the things I'm expecting from you, and that was a big part of why we enjoyed the program as well.
The program has made me like a little eagerness to go out and do something and not just like wait for the team practice and do things on my own.
As his dad, I can tell him till I'm blue in the face that this needs to be done. And sometimes it doesn't resonate coming from the dad. Sometimes it needs to come from a pro ball player.
Through your program, I just realized like how much more I could learn. I could just feel the improvement over the course like of 4 or 5 months, like you said. With you being able to supply me with this type of structure, I'm able to just learn for myself and learn how to improve by myself, which makes me feel a lot better as well as a lot more accomplished in the end.
I definitely recommend joining it. It's awesome. The community's great. Having you there to support you is incredible, and overall love the program.
You get the full structure. You get your lifting, you get your arm velocity, you get your mechanics, you get your hitting, and the hands-on approach from you.
Infield velo was 68 or something like that. It was not good. My 60-yard dash was 7.7, which is not good. And I was not very mobile. I wasn't very strong. I mean, I'm a big kid, but a lot of it was
all just right. Welcome in. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Today is another coffee and baseball, so let's get it started. Today is day 31, so let's move this guy over to 31. A little bit out of breath because I just sprinted up the stairs to make sure that I was on time for you guys. So welcome in to Coffee and Baseball. Guys, I am your host, Evan Mendoza. I played 7 years of professional baseball between the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Diego Padres. And I'm here to give you guys as much baseball education, mindset, and recruiting guidance as humanly possible. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys non-vanilla answers. That's one of my goals with everything that I do. And I want to make sure that this is obviously a productive time together. So if you do have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. That is why I do this. So make sure that you get your questions in. And that's one of the most important things that I have for you guys, is making sure that you guys ask those questions when you have those questions. So that way we can get things rocking and rolling. So without further ado, guys, if you have those baseball related questions, feel free to ask. Again, we are live on Facebook, Instagram, and Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Did you see my response? I don't know. I responded to your DM. Possibly. I've been DMing a lot of. We're always in our DM. So I'm doing well. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about how I make my coffee in the morning. If you saw my Instagram story, if not, no big deal. But guys, feel free to ask your questions. That's why I do this. So let's get started. All right. This is actually something that I was doing yesterday, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's more or less like talking about some certain mindsets, because obviously baseball is important for how we go about our mindset, right? So let's talk about like metrics and how they don't define you, right? Because at the end of the day, like a lot of high school baseball players probably feel like they're misfits because they don't have the correct they don't have the correct mechanics, or they don't have the correct metrics, right? So metrics will take you, this is kind of the way that I like to think about it. Like metrics will help open certain doors for you. But to stay in that room, you have to be a gamer. You have to be a player of the game of baseball, right? And some people don't understand this. Some people think like, oh, if you just throw literally 100 miles an hour, everything will be given to you. And like, yes, throwing 100 miles an hour, it opens the door. But one conversation that I was having yesterday is we had a walk-on at NC State that I'll never forget. He threw 97 miles an hour as a right-handed pitcher. And he was a walk-on, right? He only threw 8 innings pitched. I threw 18 innings pitched, and my freshman year was the only year that I pitched. I had more collective innings than he did. Yes, he got drafted. Yes, he figured out his command, which was really the thing that was holding him back the most. But exactly, you do have to throw strikes. So that's the area where, to be honest with you, he did have a little bit of the case of the yips in college. I'll never forget when we were doing PFPs during team fundamentals. The coach hit him a comebacker. And no joke, he sailed. Like, you know how like a typical stadium is in college? He didn't just miss the first baseman. He threw it out of the stadium. And this was a PFP, so he had to throw the ball maybe 30 feet. And he literally had he throws 97 miles an hour, but he couldn't control that slow motion. So he got really stiff and basically just yeeted a ball probably a good 120 feet out of play, like quite literally out of play. It would have went into the stand. So like those are the fun stories that I love to bring up, because like, yes, metrics will open the door for you, but ultimately what keeps you into the room is making sure that you have like the gamification of baseball. Guys, gaming, being a gamer is really how well you do three things: how well you hit, how well you throw, and by the way, yes, throw. You do have to throw the strikes, right? But also if you're an infielder, you have to throw. That's just part of the game. And how well you field the ball, right? If you're a catcher, you catch the ball. If you're an outfielder, you catch the ball. If you're an infielder, you field the ball. Either way, it's protecting the baseball, right? So that, in a summary, is baseball. And this is really what I like to refer to as becoming a gamer in the game of baseball, which obviously can help you excel and go to that next level and play at that professional level, or maybe in that collegiate level. Guys, you have to know the fundamentals in the game of baseball. There's just no ifs about it. You just have to know these certain things, so that way you're never the one holding the team back when you're doing things like team fundies and things of that nature. So always keep that in mind. All right. And one thing I forgot to do once again is get this guy, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm learning how to make it quicker when I make those mistakes, because I do constantly make that mistake. But yeah, guys, if you have any baseball-related questions, feel free to ask. That's why I do this. Also, if this is the first time you're ever joining into a coffee and baseball, guys, go down below in the chat and just put like the baseball emoji, just so I know that this is the first time that you're joining in with us. This is day 31, by the way, of 50 of streaming every single day. So we've been doing this for a while. Typically, if you have questions, that makes this so much more enjoyable. So that way I can give you a very specific guidance on what your current situation could potentially be looking like, maybe a certain profile. So one thing that I like, and I will ask, the room, really anybody that wants me to do this, I like doing individual playing profiles. So if you give me basically your son's graduation year, his position, his graduation year / grade, position, 60 time, arm velo, and exit velocity. What I'll do is kind of just like go over your son's current situation as far as like what's going well for him, what's holding him back. And this is something that I really do enjoy doing, just because like if we have 2026s who are about to be stepping foot in college in less than a calendar year, this is where it's important to understand, like if he's a shortstop and he's running a 7.4, like we want this to get down lower to under the 7s as soon as humanly possible, so that way we're not transitioning into a corner infield right away once we step foot on a college campus, which will happen because there's going to be those guys that are a lot more athletic. They have more range in the infield. So having a better 60 and just showing that overall athleticism, that first step quickness is essential, and especially like bridging that gap. I think it's a really common misconception, and it's really the arrival fallacy of I landed that college commitment, I'm good, I'm done, I don't have to do anything else. When it's like, no, that's when the work really begins, if anything, because your mind really should have shifted to, okay, well, now I want to start my freshman year. And again, that's when those goalposts will just constantly keep moving further away. There's no such thing as arriving ever if you're a competitor. So let's talk about a 2027 outfielder, third baseman, 60 time is 7.1. Arm 85, EV 97, 102. Pretty awesome, honestly. Exit velocity as a 2027, so that's a junior in high school. Third base, outfield. So like with a 7-1, not necessarily a center field. So that's going to be a corner outfield. Corner infield is where he's playing right now. So that means he's basically projecting more of like a power bat, which is always good to see that he's showing that exit velocity. I'm also curious if this is off of the tee with like a wood bat or with a metal bat, or if this is what he's averaging typically like off of hit tracks, off of a machine, in game. That gives me a little bit more clarity. Typically what I like to see for exit velocity is off the tee with wood, just so it's as neutral of a environment as possible to track basically where people are at. But as far as like 85 arm velo, that's totally fine across the diamond. 7-1, like if we can get that more athletic, that's where we can ideally stay in the middle of the field. For those that don't know, basically like people that are in the center right here, these are going to be the athletes. So think your center fielder, your shortstops, your second baseman, those are going to be the athletes, right? The non-athletes, or the ones that are going to be a little bit more of a bopper, are going to be the left fielder, right fielder, first baseman, and third baseman. So those guys are going to be more of a power production, and that's again where this certain player is kind of projecting out. So off tee 94 to 95. So that's, you know, on cue, on par with kind of what I expected, because hitting 100 off of the tee with a wood bat is very, very difficult. There are some students of mine that can do that, but that's where like just like overall pure strength is measured. So yeah, like 94, 95, either way, like that's pretty solid for being a junior. I'm kind of concerned on like if he is a junior and we're obviously already past August 1st, right? Like what's going on, and this is for this specific individual, Cardona, what's going on the recruiting game? Like that's my big question mark for you guys, is because like these numbers are very recruitable in my opinion, but like are we having those conversations with college coaches or are we not? Because if we're not having college coaches with these types of numbers, it's like we're doing ourselves such a disservice with what's got going on. I'm also curious on like any evaluation events you guys have gone to, any camps, any showcases, any conversations that have projected to the stage of like maybe having a personal phone number of a college coach, texting, phone calls, like any of that has been going on for this individual. And this is, by the way, Cardona. And that's kind of a direct question to you. But yeah, guys, if you have any baseball related questions, feel free to ask. As I'm waiting for Cardona, yes, we're having conversations. That's great. My big thing with like knowing about those conversations or not, right? Because those conversations, in my opinion, with those numbers, it's like, yeah, good. You should be having those convos, right? But how many of them are actually escalating to like phone calls, text? What we really want to be doing is coordinating like schedules. And then also basically in this route, right, this is where this can transition into like visits, right? So I'm curious on like those visits, but like these conversations, yes, they can be inbound conversations. The big thing that I want a lot of people also listening to understand is we can also have outbound convos. And those outbound conversations are going to be, we are taking the initiative to reach out to these college coaches. So that's also another thing. We have another PBR this Friday in Long Island. Let's go. So Cardona, I'm curious on this side of things, because it sounds like these conversations possibly have been inbound or in person when you were able to shake some hands, maybe at a tournament or a camp or a showcase. But have you guys been doing anything on this side, the outbound? And what I mean by outbound, typically through email, not through one of these recruiting services like NCSA or field level. If you're using one of these services, ultimately you never own the strategy. They will always own the strategy. So I'm curious on if you guys are doing any type of outbound, whether it's through email or Twitter, because this outbound is an effective strategy to create new conversations over here. Because like your son, the conversations that you guys are having, this is where a lot of people need to understand, like, the conversations might be at like, if this is his list, like it might be a school right here. Maybe it's not his number one school, right? Maybe it's his like number 5 school, but like he still wants to see what else is out there. And typically that's what I run into with like the little bit more advanced juniors and seniors, that they keep wanting to wait to see what else is out there. And by all means, like that's an effective strategy to some capacity. But also if there's like an opportunity that's in front of you, it's really hard to not take that. And it's the same example of like when I got drafted. by the Cardinals, like that opportunity was in front of me. I was taking it 100 days out of 100 because those opportunities don't come up very, very often. So, yeah, I'm curious. Keep kind of having some conversations with me, Cardona, if you have any questions. But I'm curious on the outbound side of things, and if that's like an area or an angle of approach that you guys have taken into account. But it sounds like you guys are killing it, so keep up the hard work. Guys, if you want me to do a player profile, go ahead and comment down below any of these metrics, and I'll kind of go over your current situation just like I did with Cardona and his son. But yeah, this is what this live is for, to make sure that you guys get some clarity on where you're currently at, where you're trying to go, and if there's any gaps, especially on the mechanics or metrics side of things. Yeah, transfer portal kills right now for high school. That's a mindset, and I'm going to challenge it right now because like it's always going to be competitive to play college baseball at any level. There's not an abundance of high school baseball players that will get the opportunity to play in college baseball. So that competitiveness that the transfer portal has brought to the table, yes, it's going to be competitive, just like it was competitive in 2006 to play D1 baseball, just like it was competitive in 1988 to play college baseball. So the competitiveness has always been there. The obstacles, the landscape, the NCAA changes, like those things are inevitably going to continuously change, just like that they have done since 1988, right? So like, yes, the mindset of killing it is something that I want. I'll kind of draw out my mindset right here with you guys as well, because like, yes, the portal is difficult, right? You are now competing with like 21-year-old college players with 400 at-bats, right, that have already produced. Now, if there is a Bryce Harper in high school, that Bryce Harper, because he's a good baseball player, is still going to get MLB drafts, MLB scouts to look at him. He's still going to get college coaches to look at him. Why? Because this player went the JUCO route for a reason. Now, a Harper, right? Of course, Harper got drafted, but we're just using radical extremes to kind of prove this point, right? He could have been 17 years old, but his talent level was up here while the other person's talent level was down here. And that gap is something that college coaches are okay with, because Harper, his talent projection could be up there and he might have been like right here, but he's going to grow into that, where this player, with this into account, isn't necessarily going to have the same projectability as far as the growth of that specific player. And that's something that, a lot of people and a lot of parents will diminish their son's future in, oh, the transfer portal's hard, my son's going to go D2 so he can play instead of going to D1 and bench. It's like, who gives you guys the right to, like, with utmost certainty, know for a fact that if your son goes D2, or D3, he's going to play? There's no guarantee of that. There's absolutely no guarantee that your son's going to play at the D2 or D3. But for some reason, parents' mindset is, oh, my son's not going to go D1 because we don't want him to get benched. Well, what if he goes D2 or D3 and he gets benched, right? It probably just means that he's not that good of a baseball player. And that's where, like, yes, you can get a commitment to play D1 baseball and not play. You can also get a commitment to play D2 baseball and just simply not play. You might be riding the bench for 2 years, 3 years potentially, right? So just because you earn that scholarship does not mean you're done, right? There's still a level of development that needs to happen for you to actually play and to earn the trust of those college coaches. So I think it's just wild that some parents will be like, and this is a question I get just about every single day. When is it a good time to start considering D2 and D3 schools? And it's like, well, it's always an okay time to consider those, but it's really more or less around the mindset of like, oh, well, I don't think he's D1 ready, so we're going to play at D2 or D3, and then we're going to get developed up until he's a D1 player. We're going to go JUCO, and he's for sure going to play, so that way he can develop into a D1 player his sophomore year. Okay, what's giving you that utmost confidence? Like, I love the confidence, but like, how can we be that confident, right? And it's a weird thing because, like, typically with a lot of the families and players that I speak to, confidence is a thing that's lacking from the player's perspective, but like sometimes from the parents' perspective, the confidence is through the roof with the confidence around playing time at the D2 level compared to the D3 level and so forth. It's funny because I hear it every single day, but it's the truth. It really is. So guys, if you have any questions, or if you want me to do a player profile on any specific player, whether it's your son, whether it's yourself, guys, go ahead and drop down below in the chat some metrics, so that way I can go over your son's specific situation. And then also, guys, if it's your first ever coffee and baseball, drop a baseball emoji down below in the chat, because that's something that I want to make sure I know who it's your first time joining in to this coffee and baseball. This morning on my Instagram story, I showed you guys how I make my Cuban coffee. So hopefully you guys check that out. If not, it's not a big deal, but like I'm addicted to this stuff, and it's kind of scary how much coffee I drink, but that is room temperature coffee, but that's okay. All right, let's go over some other mentalities, because this is something that, again, I want to make sure that I'm hitting for you all. All right. Coaches recruit what they can trust. Yeah, exactly what I just kind of mentioned, right? Trust is not only in the aspect, we got Hex 1980, welcome in. Trust isn't just for recruiting, right? Because obviously you need to be a trusted athlete to be able to perform for that specific university, because yes, winning is part of that coach's responsibilities. And if they don't win, the coach might get fired, and that's their livelihood. That's his salary at stake, right? So it's not just about trust in recruiting, but it's really about also that lineup. If you really think about your high school baseball coaches right now, if your son is playing and he's in that starting lineup, let's say he's batting third, your high school coaches trust your son because he's batting third. Let's say he's batting seventh. They still trust him to an extent, but doesn't trust him with the bat in particular as much as the 2-hole hitter or the 3-hole hitter, which are typically going to be the better hitters on the team. So we have to think about trust, right? And this could probably eliminate 98% of all high school baseball problems. And I think this route that I want to go with you guys right now, I want to record for Instagram, so you might see this as well. But I think 98% of all high school baseball problems, and with lineups and parents and coaches, could be solved with this simple mindset. And it's really about trust, right? So if you are a parent of a high school baseball player and your son is batting 7th or 8th, comparing your son to that batter who is hitting, 2nd or 3rd, who's typically going to be a little bit better of a hitter, it all comes down to trust. If that high school baseball coach trusts your son more than that 2 or 3-hole hitter, he's going to be hitting in that 2 or 3 spot. But at the end of the day, your son hasn't proved to these high school coaches, let alone college coaches, that your son can be trusted. Not necessarily in the means of like their ethical duty or anything like that, but like their baseball abilities, right? So trust isn't necessarily just a concept in the recruiting game, because yes, college coaches need to be able to trust a certain player to be able to win ball games, because these college coaches' livelihood is at stake. If they don't win baseball games, and if your son isn't able to be trusted to help them win baseball games, they're going to be out of a job. They're going to be out of money. That's their livelihood. You have to keep in mind, right? But at the high school level, it's more about that lineup, right? So like if your son is going to be the most trusted fielder, he takes care of the ball, he never makes errors, good chance he's going to be a shortstop. If he's not the shortstop and he's playing second base, it's typically because the high school coach trusts that shortstop through practice, through all the reps that they've seen. Maybe they move a little bit better. Maybe they're more vocal. Maybe they're more of that leadership role in the infield. He's kind of that quarterback. That's why that shortstop's playing shortstop, and your son might be playing second base, right? And also the athletic ability obviously comes into the conversation on trust. So again, 98% of probably all high school baseball problems with lineups, with parents and coaches and playing time could be solved with just a simple conversation about trust. And this is a conversation you're probably lacking because you're not going to like what comes out of it. That's just the way that I think about it. That's just honestly the way that I think about it. Trust is just something that's talked about a ton in college, in pro ball. What you bring to the table and what your team is needing out of you sometimes will differ. And there were times where I was batting 9th in pro ball, in AAA, right, one step away from the big leagues. There were times where I was batting 1st, and I realized in my mind, I'm a really good 2-strike hitter. I see a lot of pitches. I bring something to the table that maybe the 2 or 3-hole hitter doesn't. And that's the same way that I need like a lot of high school baseball players to think about these things. If you're in the lineup, you still have an opportunity to play and to perform and to be able to grow and develop, right? I didn't ever view it as like, man, why am I hitting 9th? I still viewed it as an opportunity, right? If your son plays for a D6 high school, I believe that's like the size. I think D6, 7, 8, whatever, like the higher, more kids in the school. I think that's how it works. And not D1. Will that affect it? Wait, okay. Okay, your son's going to be a freshman next year, so 8th grade. So correct me if I'm wrong, Hex, but like is D6 the small, like is D6 like 100 kids at the high school. D5 is like 500, and then D4 is like 800, and then D3 is at like 1,000, and then basically D1 is like 3,000 kids. Is that how that kind of works? Because I think in Florida it was a little bit different. I don't think it was like the D level. D level, like a division level, is typically for NCAA, so that's why it kind of threw me off right there. So yeah, I mean, from what you know, Hex, about that high school, is it a smaller school, or is it inverse, where basically D1 is like small, 100 kids in a graduating class, where D6 is like 2,000 kids? I call D1 schools are good. In Cal, D1 schools are good. So probably D1, yeah, probably D1 are the bigger schools. Maybe they go off of talent and ranking. I doubt that. It's usually the size of the high school, so that way there's somewhat of a competitive balance with like the geographical area. So I would assume like if he's at like that D6 school, I really don't know anything about like the size or the competition in California. But yeah, as far as like that, what my mindset is, if he's good enough, they will come. And with a caveat, right? Because I'm telling you this as a parent of an 8th grader about to be a 9th grader, right? Because your focus and your son's focus should really be 100% on the physical development. That's one of the key areas inside my triple play program. It is 100% remote, by the way, but like the physical development needs to be priority number one. And the reason for that is because like a guy like Shohei Ohtani, he still is trying to get bigger, faster, and stronger. He's trying to be built. He's taking care of himself in the gym. He's doing all the necessary things to be the best player in the world, and it obviously is showing. Now, nothing is going to trump that, right? His endorsement deals are not going to ever trump that. His sponsorships, his this, his that, like those things are never going to trump him being a good baseball player and a good baseball performer, right? He has to perform in the game no matter what. And for whatever reason, around this time of high school, especially for parents, maybe yourself included, you're starting to think this way for your son, other things will get in the way of that. And that's what I like to call and refer to as noise, right? And the biggest one is going to be recruiting, right? Recruiting is that noise that gets in the way of what actually matters and what actually moves the needle, which is the physical development. Now, when I say if your son's good enough, they will come. If you're in Southern California or California, I can't remember where you said you were at, but there's plenty of area scouts for big league teams. There's plenty of colleges in California that are going to be able to come and visit your son, and especially in the travel ball circuit as well in the summertime, to be able to evaluate your player. So it's not so much about the high school. It matters a lot more about travel ball around junior and senior year, but that's where, like, if your son's in 8th grade right now, he has 2-ish years, 2+ years to really focus on, again, the most important area, which is his physical development, not necessarily the recruiting. You have schools like Bosco and Corona. I know about Corona. The individual on my team that actually posts a lot of the Instagram posts went to Corona, which is pretty cool. He played ball there too. My kid's 13, 6 foot tall already, plays freshman tournament. He pitches and throws 80 miles an hour, hits 3rd or 4th in the lineup. That's always great. The biggest test for him is going to be like freshman year, the ability or the possibility is the possibility of playing varsity as a freshman. That's always going to be the biggest goal for those talented freshmen. Like I was on varsity as a freshman as well. Very, very challenging because you are in bloody waters. That's the first time also that you start to understand how like political things can be. And yes, things can be political as far as people and parents telling you this and telling you that and coaches, whatever. But at the end of the day, the reason I was on varsity is because I was good and I could help the team out. And it goes back to, again, the conversation about trust. The varsity starters who were seniors and wanted to win a World Series, wanted to win a state championship, they trusted me. The juniors on the team, they trusted me because I took care of the ball. I was the starting shortstop and I pitched the days that I didn't play short. So like these upperclassmen who care about winning, the coaches trusted me. Now the parents of the other shortstops, the parents of the JV shortstops and second basemen, the kids on JV that felt like they were good enough, those were always the people that had problems with me. So I was swimming in bloody waters in some capacity, right? And parents would My parents would hear stuff from other parents that, oh, why is he on varsity? Why is he this and that? All I really needed to get validity from, or any type of validation, was if I had a quick conversation with my varsity high school coach at the time, Jim McCandless. He was, by the way, like the guy that really instilled a lot of confidence in myself, and that was my freshman year of high school that he did that. Made me really just like want more out of myself and understand that like confidence was a huge component of who I am. And if I could just be like a percentage of who he was, that would be great. But all I would have to do is quite literally have a conversation with him, and he would give me that confidence, and he would make sure that I never even thought about those other people, because a lot of that hate is typically going to come from beneath you. It's never going to come from above. And like I said, those seniors that took the game of baseball serious, wanted to win that state championship, they had no problem with me playing on varsity because they saw me as an asset to help win ball games. That's what I mean about political, because yes, there's going to be people that say stuff, but at the end of the day, like the Shohei Ohtani example, if you're good enough, they will come out and watch you. And there were college scouts that actually watched me play my freshman year, because think about it, I was playing with juniors and seniors who were pretty solid players that were getting recruited to play college baseball. And I was just that freshman kid, like, who is this freshman kid, right? So that started conversations earlier than you know. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially in these transitional years for you and your player. It's always going to be an exciting and fun time, and then also a time for growth with what's coming up, especially if he's already 6 foot tall. That's awesome. We do work with, every once in a while, very dedicated 8th graders. So yeah, if you are curious about learning a little bit more about me or my program, you can visit my website. All right, the weight room is not optional anymore. It is part of the game. That's actually a really good mindset that I wanted to talk about a little bit, that I had written down. So let's talk about the weight room. Show of hands, who actually lifts in season? Or if you are on Facebook, Instagram, or anything, who actually lifts during the high school baseball season? Does anybody actually lift during the season? My son has gone to the high school camp, and the varsity coach knows my son well, so it'll be interesting. Yeah, it's always that truest test of like if that opportunity arises for him to be able to play or not. But I'm curious, because the conversation about weight room is probably like an area that I think everyone could benefit from. When you're going to the weight room, really, really important, guys, this is the in-season weight room methodology that I always took when I played pro ball. So, and for those that have joined into my live before, you'll know kind of what I'm about to draw out. I'm gonna make this one a nice clean line. There we go. All right, cool. So this is basically your energy, and this is over time, right? And if we really think about it, like, let's talk about here is the end of summer. This is like the end of fall ball. This is, tryouts in the spring. Okay, does that make sense? I'm trying to make it as easy to understand as possible. So ideally, what I would love to happen as far as the energy that we have throughout the high school baseball season is to make sure that we keep high energy, and we also keep high, power. Right? So let's say that we start right here. Again, right here basically is high school season. So we have pretty good energy right now. We go to the end of summer, and we're regressing some of that energy because we're playing in the hot summer, and we're regressing a little bit, and that's why we're in red. Now, right here at the end of fall, this is where we start lifting. Typically, we train in like the off season, right? We're doing a little bit more activity. So that's where we're gonna increase and build until, again, high school tryouts. And now what we find ourselves in is just like this never-ending cycle of regressing throughout the season and then building in the off season. So instead of doing that, what I would want everyone listening to do instead, I would want more of that mindset of maintain. So we're not going downhill as much. We're still going down a little bit, but that's where we're able to regress. I mean, not regress, but build until tryouts. So this is like the off season, and this is the in season, right? So an in-season, high school season, and travel ball. So that way, if we're regressing just a little bit right here, over time, if we really zoom it out, that's where over time we will constantly keep building new heights, new heights, new heights. That's how we develop. But if we never take the in-season lifting, maintaining mindset, that's going to be where it's very, very difficult to actually grow those muscles. So that's where like we have a New York Mets strength coach, because the programming throughout the high school baseball season is actually one of the more difficult parts of training. And a lot of people will think that they can figure it out. And I promise you, just like try figuring it out for a couple of years and then come back to me, because that is part of the process of like trying to think that you're good enough to be able to do these things on your own, when in reality, when I was in high school, I tried doing things on my own. When I was in college, we had a sports-specific trainer that actually wrote our programs that had a degree in kinesiology. Now, there were definitely some movements that I never did. I actually just spoke to one of my students last night that told me he never did a pretzel before. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's one of the more core concepts for baseball, and especially T-spine mobility, that I was like, come on, dude. Like, and he said that that's helped him. I think he said gain 4 or 5 miles an hour of pitching velocity in the past 2 months. So just because we're unlocking movements that we haven't done previously in the gym. But yeah, when we're talking about when I was also in pro ball, I didn't make my own lifting programs. Again, we had a strength and conditioning coach that had a degree in kinesiology, and I trusted in that because that is what moves the needle the most. We know as pro baseball players to be robots, basically. We basically are given instructions, you know, over here we're giving instructions, and then we're a computer and we just like compute. And we're just like a robot. We do, right? We don't think about it, we just do it, we execute. And the more that you can train your mind to do that with a trusted individual on the other side, it helps you out so much. But there's also those people, especially in the chat right now, that probably have this mindset of like, I'll just figure it out. We've got time to figure it out. And it's like, you can only play baseball in high school for 4 years. That's it. Can't do it for 10 years. Can't do it for 6. Can't do it for 12. You have 4 years. And ideally, a lot of people will be like, oh, this is freshman year. We'll start taking it serious right here. And we have 1 year left. Unfortunately, right? Because 1 year, if we're talking about like getting abs in the weight room, doesn't happen overnight. You have to compound these things day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year to really see the growth. But again, I'm gonna lock in junior year. Good luck. These are just some of the things that I learned throughout 7 years of pro baseball. Went through the college recruiting process and landed that D1 scholarship, guys. So like, if you guys have already done those things, or if your son has already done those things, that's cool. You can back out. You don't need to be here. But if you or your son hasn't done any of those things, ask some questions. That's why I'm doing these. I want to make sure that I don't give you guys vanilla answers. I want to be as productive with you guys as possible. But yeah, if your son has already played pro ball and if he's already landed that D1 scholarship, what are you even doing here? Go do something else. Get your lunch in. But don't hang out with me. You don't need it. But yeah, if you are looking for that help, definitely do ask some questions. That's the most effective way to get your questions answered, most importantly. All right, let's get to some other mindsets because it's important. I like this one. Accountability is love, right? Excuses is comfort. How many times, we'll isolate the parents a little bit, if that's okay with you guys. How many times have you ever told yourself or maybe your son that you can't do something because you guys are busy and you don't have enough time? Has that ever happened to anyone? Because if you ever have told yourself time, you don't have enough of it, well, I want more time too. I think we all want more time. I want 26 hours in a day. Imagine the cool things that I could do with an extra 2 hours. I could conquer the world. If 2 hours today, 2 hours tomorrow, like every day I had 26 hours. How cool would that be? The point that I'm trying to prove is everyone has the same 24 hours. So time is the excuse. But I'm going to keep you accountable right here because I'm going to try to show you guys that love. We all have that same 24 hours. Juan Soto has 24 hours. He breathes the same air that I breathe. He puts on his pants the same way that I put on my pants. And the reason that I'm able to put these comparisons, and sometimes you might think like, oh, well, Juan Soto has $1 billion, right? Yes, he does. But I've been able to rub shoulders with him, and he's a dude just like me. Yes, he can hit a baseball really well, but like he was given the same opportunities that I was in my early stages of playing baseball, my high school years, my college years were really his professional years because when I was 19, he was in the big leagues already, right? So like the opportunities have changed because of what he prioritized earlier. Now, to be fair, I took the game of baseball extremely serious around my freshman and sophomore year. That's when like I took that flip of the switch. I was always very, very serious as far as playing baseball and practicing baseball, but I didn't know what to do until like freshman year of high school. So think about like a Juan Soto. He probably was trained by people that have already walked through the path that he wanted to walk through from the age of probably like 6 years old, right? And he was taking that game extremely seriously because that's what Dominicans do, that's what Puerto Ricans do, that's what Cubans do, that's what Venezuelans do. They just take the game extremely seriously from a very young age. So I'm not going to allow you to have time as the excuse, especially if you're a parent watching this. Oh, I don't have time. My son doesn't have time. How are we going to fit this into my high school baseball season? How am I going to do this? When he's at school all day long and this and that. Like, guys, you make time for the things that you prioritize, and you can only have one singular priority. You can't have priorities, right? Oh, I want to play basketball and I want to play baseball. No, that's priorities. That's plural. If you have a priority to be the best baseball player you can possibly be, that is your priority, and you're going to stop at absolutely nothing. You're going to want it as bad as you want to breathe. There's a really great, let me see if I can find it for you guys, because honestly, I want to watch this again. Maybe it's going to get me amped up a little bit, because it is something that I think would be valuable for everyone. This was a YouTube video that I remember watching, like no joke, at least one time a week. And this is actually going to be perfect because it's about 15 minutes long. This literally caused me to view baseball in such a different element of what was going on, truly. So I want to share this with you guys. I think you guys will love it a lot. And hopefully you'll see value out of it. Maybe you've already seen it before. Which would be great. But ideally, I just want to share with you guys so you can understand like where my motivation came from as a high school baseball player. And so that way you can also follow along as well. And you can see YouTube already has me watched it, so that's cool. All right, let's change this up. All right, we should be good now. Let's see, we should be all right.
So if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just be talking about you want to make 6 figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you do the 3 things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do. You will be able to accomplish whatever you want to academically, financially, relationally, whatever. So 3 things. All right, now I'm going to tell you the story. I got to get out of here. And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? And he told the guru, I want to be on the same level you on. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. He like, the beach? I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. Should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he like, this guy crazy. Adrian, he like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come out a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had it right around this area. The shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He making money, but he crazy. He said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. was right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This God is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man getting scratching, holding him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answered the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word though than lit. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to give up sleep. You got to be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you're going to have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you gotta want it. You gotta go days without, listen to me, you gotta want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat. Beyonce said once she was on the set doing her thing, 3 days had gone by, she forgot she didn't eat. Because she was engaged. I'll never forget when 50 Cent was doing his movie, I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep. He said, sleep. Sleep is for those people who are broke. I don't sleep. He said, I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality. Football players, how many football players? Got anybody like football in here? Raise your hand. Anybody like football? Emmitt Smith. I used to be a Cowboy fan before they did my boy Tom Landry wrong. I used to be a Cowboy fan. And watch this, there was a commercial. Emmitt Smith had won his first Super Bowl, and he had this commercial when he was lifting weights. I don't know if you saw the commercial when he was lifting, and he said, Emmitt said, you know what? I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. He was doing his bench press. So he said, I won the Super Bowl, so I can rest now. So he throws up about 325, boom. And he rests for about 2 seconds. And he, boom, boom, boom. Did you see that? He'd already won a Super Bowl. He said, I think I'm going to take a rest. And he rests for how long? 1 second. Most of you won't be successful because when you're studying and you get tired, you quit. And I'm here to tell you today, if you got somebody came to my office the other day crying. I said, look, don't cry to give up. Cry to keep going. Don't cry to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it. Don't go to sleep until you succeed. Listen to me. I'm here to tell you today that you can come here, you can jump up, you can do flips, you can be excited when we give away money. But listen to me, you'll never be successful until I don't have to give you a dime to do what you do. You won't be successful until you say, I don't need that money, because I got it in here. So listen to me. Emmitt Smith said this at the end of the commercial. Emmitt Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. I'm going to say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. So that means that there are some people who are going to see the professor, going to see the TA. And even when the professor says, I don't meet with you, my TA meets with you, you say, I don't want to talk to your TA. I don't pay the TA. I pay you to teach me. So you're going to have to find some time to meet me. If I got to meet you at the mall, if I got to meet you at your house, you are going to see me. Listen to me. All men are created equal. Some work hard in preseason. When I went to college, guys were way smarter than me. 4.0s, 3.0. They went to the Ivy League high schools, came to Oakwood from these great high schools. Most of them are not doing what I'm doing. Why? Because it's not about where you come from. It's about heart. You come to a place where, being smart ain't enough. You gotta have heart. That's number one. Watch number two. Number two, catch number two. I wrote it down. I wanted to make sure you got it. It says, watch this. We're talking about sacrifice now. The important thing is this. You're right while I'm saying it, because I only have about 3 more minutes. Listen to me. The most important thing is this. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. That's the number 2 thing. You got to catch that one. To be able to, listen to me, at any moment. Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attached to it. For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, man, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there's some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success.
I think we're gonna go with you guys.
That's great. Awesome, let me get the contract.
One last thing, you're sucked.
I'm gonna say it again, I'm gonna hurt somebody. Some of you need to give up your cell phone because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success. The time you could be using to be successful, you're using it on the cell. And the cell phone is not bringing you nothing but a bill. And somebody has told you you couldn't live without it. I'm talking about going deep now, giving up stuff. Watch what it says. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could be. I don't do well in math. You're right. You ain't never studied. I'm not good in writing because you have never written before. But I dare you to fail in writing for a whole year to see if you can get to the end. I dare you to fail. I dare you to take that same class over and over again. I dare you to stop dropping classes like you soft. Always want to give up. I'm dropping. Why are you dropping? I'm so grateful that the slaves didn't drop and quit. Say, I'm just going to stop. I'm a slave. I'm just going to be a slave. I'm going to quit. Listen to me. The slaves said, we will live because one day we will become. We won't always be slaves. So today, although we're slaves, we're going to act like we're free. And one day, our children will be free. If the slaves would have just said, we quit, we give up, we would have died in the middle passage. But some slaves said, I don't care what we go through, we're going to survive this. 400 years of slavery, we're going to get through this. And you can't get through it 1825. You can't get through a writing class, and you got tutor after tutor, resource after resource. The problem is, you ain't never felt no pain before. You're soft. It's a soft generation. You quit on everything. Our people did not quit. Harriet Tubman not only made it, she went back and got some more. She said, you know what, I made it, but I'm going to walk all, listen to me, shh, not ride the bus. I'm going to walk all the way back down to the South to get some more. And you quitting on 1825? Now watch this. You quit after you, listen to me, you get a sleeping bag and you wait for them. You wait for the first WRA instructor to come in and you come out to your sleeping bag, I need help. You quit after you do that. You quit after you had, listen to me, a WRA party. I'm having a party. Everybody come over. I got food, everything. And let them get over there. Let it be all the best writers. All right, I fooled y'all. I want to have a writing party. I'm serious. You quit and you ain't even tried yet. Last one, I'm sorry. Last one. Listen to me. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. Listen to me, I'm telling you as I leave. I was homeless for 2.5 years. And the problem with most of you never felt no pain before. Y'all spoiled. Y'all spoiled. Some of y'all spoiled. Just bottom line. Your parents have done everything for you. You never had to do nothing for yourself. You're spoiled. We're going to keep it real tonight. Some of you are spoiled brats. Every time you ever got in trouble, somebody in your house got you out of it. Every time you've done something you're not supposed to do, people say, Eric, your mother's a tyrant. You're right. She kicked me out. You're right. She's mean, but she developed a man because she put me out there and said, you're going to have to grow up. And some of you have never learned to grow up. And so every time something get hard, you quit, you call mama. I dare you to take a little pain. I dare you. I dare you not to go home. Somebody said, I don't go home, I feel bad. Go through it. You ain't gonna die. At the end of pain is success. You're not gonna die because you're feeling a little pain. I'm not eating like I eat at home. That's why you're about to go to the next level, because if you keep eating like you ate at home, you'll keep being a boy or a girl. It's time to become man, woman. So don't worry about a little pain. My greatest asset is I was homeless, so I can't feel a whole lot of pain. I've already been alone. There's not a whole lot of hurt I can feel on a little paper, on a little test. So I leave you, listen to me. We have gotten to a point where it's midterms and we're moving forward. The days of you getting money, I'm not saying we quitting, but I'm saying the day has got to go from external to internal. You have to give it everything you got. No more TV, no more parties, no more playing. If you don't have a 4.0, what you need to be doing is studying. Get off the phone. I'm sorry, I'm not available until the end of this year. No, I'm for real. You reached the right number, but you called me at the wrong time. Call me back January 1st. I'm about to get busy now. Huh? I want you to have a countdown of your own and say when the countdown is over, we're the real, watch me, because when I was homeless, I knew something was wrong. I knew that wasn't the best of me. And one day I said, will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? Will the real Eric Thomas please stand up? Stop being this high school dropout. Stop giving up. Stop sleeping on the street. Stop walking up and down Fecal Avenue like you ain't got nothing, and get your GED. Stop being afraid to take a test. Stop being afraid to go to college because your daddy didn't go and your mama didn't go. Stop being afraid and be the best Eric Thomas you can be. But listen to me, it's going to be hard. It took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree, but I got it. And guess what? On a degree, it don't have dates. So if it took you 4 and it took me 12, it don't show up nowhere. But I'm exactly where I wanted to be because I realized I got to commit my very being to this thing. I gotta breathe it, I gotta eat it, I gotta sleep it. And until you get there, you'll never be successful in life. But once you get there, I guarantee you, the world is yours. So work hard and you can have whatever it is you want. Thank you guys for your time.
All right, what do you guys think about that? That was pretty solid, right? So that was Eric Thomas. I'll never forget. So he actually came out and spoke, believe it or not, at NC State, which I thought was really, really cool because that was a video that I watched probably like literally every single week of my high school journey into college baseball. And obviously like that was super powerful. The beginning stages is like what I like to always keep in my mind is like if you want something as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful, right? Like I think that's just like super, super powerful. And if you haven't ever watched that before, go watch it again. Also, if you guys want to hear like some of my takes, or if you want to show this to your son, you can always watch the uploaded recording of these lives over on YouTube. That's why, especially if you are on Instagram, I created that highlight on my Instagram profile to take you over to my YouTube channel to make it that much easier to subscribe. Bring it up to your son. You can also share over my profiles and stuff like that with your son, because I think that's a super powerful message that I really bought into when I was in high school. And it basically made me to be the person that I am, not only on the field, but also off the field. So, all right, one thing that we're going to go ahead and do is our final recap of the day 31, and we'll get that started here in a second. So we'll go ahead and record this. Guys, if you have any baseball-related questions as we wrap up, just let me know. But let's get this show on the road. All right, day 31 of 50 of streaming every single day. So we talked about some metrics for a certain individual. Let's just say 97 miles an hour off of the mound, but he didn't necessarily have the gaming mentality of like throwing strikes. So as a pitcher, you know, he's not going to get as many throwing innings, you know, pitching innings, as someone that actually has the ability to compete and ultimately throw those strikes, which is at the end of the day the most important thing. We did some playing profiles on certain individuals. Let's go one by one though. We talk about trust being a super important conversation, especially about playing time and in the recruiting game. Also, we talk about like just this mixed mindset of like, oh, my son's gonna go D2 instead of D1, so he will play. Yeah, I don't know where that confidence is coming from, but I love it. But there's no for sure guarantee that your son's going to play at the D2 level. He could be sitting on the bench even at that D3 level. We also talked about how the portal is affecting things. Guys, it's always going to be competitive to play college baseball, and that is just a simple fact. We also talked about a certain individual outfield corner guy, about 100 miles an hour exit velocity, 85 arm velo, 71, like really good. We talked about kind of like the outbound strategies that were kind of lacking, because we had a lot of inbound conversations, but not as many outbound. And ultimately that outbound are going to be new conversations that we could possibly turn into offers, especially if we have those metrics like that one individual did. We also went through a little bit of an example of the weight room, especially in season. We want to maintain our strength throughout the season, so that way we're able to build during the season. Next up, we also talked about basically you only have 4 years of playing high school baseball, and we also need to turn into basically a computing robot if we're baseball players. If we have a workout program given to us, we need to execute that day in and day out. We also talked about how accountability is love and excuses is comfort, and especially for those high school baseball players out there, guys, I'm going to keep it real with you. The accountability, guys, you only have 24 hours in the day. I wish I had 26 hours in the day. I wish you had 26 hours in the day, but we both breathe the same air, and ultimately you can only have one priority at the end of the day, and hopefully that's to play college baseball. All right, guys. Well, that concludes today's Coffee and Baseball. Guys, welcome. If this is the first time, if you're just joining us right now, but this is at the end of today's episode, we're going to be back. Little housekeeping. So I'm going to be away. I'm going to try doing some Instagram lives only since I'm going to be on the road. But I will be back more than likely on Monday. So yes, we are streaming every single day, excluding Sundays, but we're going to not necessarily have the iPad out. It's going to be just more of a relaxed phone in my hand. But yeah, guys, if you have any baseball related questions, you can always feel free to DM the Mendoza Baseball Academy. You can also hit up our website if you're interested on getting some resources for your player and joining into my one-on-one mentorship program. So I'll see you guys on Monday.
Welcome Evan Mendoza to the program.
Cardinals third baseman Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza giving it a look, finds the railing and he tumbles over, but he made the catch. Unbelievable, Evan Mendoza.
Gran jugada en Evan Mendoza, dos joyas defensivas.
Evan Mendoza makes a great
rounded up the middle. Mendoza throws off the shortstop. Mendoza field spins.
Mendoza throw to first in time. Wow, what a play by Evan Mendoza.
Mendoza to second for one. Oh my word, you've got to be kidding.
Evan Mendoza! For Mendoza lifts one to left. An inning. Mendoza, that one's sailing back there, and it's gone!
Now, those are some of the plays and the insights of playing baseball at the highest level, not just posting about it. Now, let's flip the script. Here's what my students and families have to say about working with me.
Just share his stories of the kids asking him, what did you do? And his one answer was one word. Evan.
It's an overall great program to improve your metrics, mental approach, your velocity, and your outreaching strategies. Because there's a ton of players I know that are way better than me that had zero offers because they don't know how to reach out to coaches.
Pretty much every possible number would have gone up. I was high 70s and now I'm aiming for mid to high 80s and hitting the same thing. I was high 80s off machine and now I'm able to put some balls out in the mid 90s.